I have fallen for the Filofax. After seeing a few YouTube videos of this system, I was completely convinced that this was something that was going to work for me. So I immediately started searching for a Filofax secondhand, and I found the perfect one for me to use. So I thought I would go through with you today my Filofax, what my plans are, and show you the inserts that I've created as well. Because I have actually created everything myself. I haven't used any Filofax inserts, so I thought it might be handy as a little inspiration if you are planning on making any of your own inserts yourself as well. I have picked up this Filofax Metropole in the personal size. I picked this up from Vinted, and you will be able to see that it is a little scuffed and marked, which I don't mind. I think it adds a bit to the charm of it all anyway, and with it being this soft leather, I knew that I was going to end up bumping and scraping it a bit as well. I didn't mind that it was a little broken in before I got my hands on it. I will note though that yesterday, this pen loop on the front did snap, so that's not the best. I haven't actually used these pen loops, and I should be able to seam rip it off anyway, so not a massive deal. I was going back and forth between this size and the pocket. I do really like the idea of the pocket, but because I wanted to test this Filofax out as a catch-all for all of my life bits, I wanted to make sure I had enough space. And obviously this being slightly bigger holds more pages, so I thought I'd start off with this, and then if I find I want something a bit more portable in the future, I might look at getting a smaller size as well. So that's the overview of the planner. I'm just going to go through everything that I've set up. I've had this for about a week so far, give or take, and I've already gotten some good use out of it. I've already done some spreads. So yeah, I'm just going to do a little walkthrough with you. So when I open it up, on the Metropole, you've got these card holders on the left, and then this big pocket as well. At the moment, I've just got my library cards in here and some nice floral paper that I want to use for something. I am planning on putting my loyalty cards in here for the coffee shops that I visit as well. But yeah, that's it for that side. And then as you can see, it's got the Filofax at the bottom there. If I just quickly take you to the back, it does have this large pocket. It's quite stiff. I'm struggle to get things in this. I think it's definitely made for something that's a bit sturdier. So at the moment, I've just got these little annotating tags in there, and it also doubles as a ruler. Because I haven't bought any of the Filofax inserts, I don't have the ruler, so it's quite handy to have that in the back for now as well. That is the actual planner, and I'm just going to run through what I've set up. I wanted to use this to catch all the areas of my life. So I do have quite a few different sections in here. This is definitely an experiment. It's something that I'm gonna have to test out and see what things I actually use. I don't know if everything will stay, but these are all the subjects and areas that I'm currently curious about and working towards that I wanted to have a space for in the planner. So as you can see here, I have my cover page, kept it pretty simple and just something that I wanted to sort of match the vibe that I'm going for, which is kind of vintage, a bit quirky, a bit like an old library collection of trinkets. And then on the other side, I've just printed my vision board for the year. Then I've just popped in this old postcard. It was a thank you note from a perfume order I made a few years ago. I really like the colors and the picture on this. So this is my first section, which is my planner. And I've actually done these sections the same throughout. So they've all got this pattern on there and then the framed title in the middle. My plan for 2026 is to be more curious, be a bit more whimsical, so I wanted that to be reflected within this planner. Then when I turn the page, I've got a nice little section of stickers. I absolutely love cats, but I don't have one, so I need to get my fix somehow. And this is how I'm getting my fix at the moment. And then I've also made a cover page here. I have an art book on Henry Matisse that I picked up at the boot sale, and they came with prints. So I've just cut that up and used that as covers. For this journal, my plan is to only have 1/4 at a time in here for the planning, just to keep things minimal and not get too bulky, because I have a lot of other sections in here. So I only have April to June planned out in here for now. And it means that once I've finished finished this quarter, I can see how these planning inserts are working for me, and I can then make any adjustments as well. Then I have my habit tracker here. As you can see, I've started filling it out from the date that I've started this journal. And then I also have a blank page here that can just be used for a little junk journal spread. Then we move into the actual weekly plan. For me, I've started with having notes and then a done list on the one side and then my weekly plan on the other. Now I've done it this way because I wanted to be able to have the space to make notes here, and having a done list is really nice for me. I find some days I don't feel like I've accomplished much, so when I feel that, I like to write all the things I did actually do. It makes me feel like I haven't wasted my day. And then with the planner, there's one page, there's not a huge amount of space, but it is enough to put my 3 main priorities for the day. And if I do feel like I need a daily spread, I can always add in a page to do a full daily spread for those days that feel like they need a bit more detail. And I've put some stickers on there. I do like the idea of giving myself a little star if I complete my 3 priorities for the day. Then it just goes on the same for the rest of the quarter, having the notes and the done list on the one side and then the weekly plan on the other. I have then made this bookmark. This was actually a paper fan that I received with a perfume purchase that I made when I was in Florence. I've cut one up and it acts as a handy little bookmark, and the tab sort of sticks out at the top, and I've just put some washi tape on the back to give it a little more colour and pattern. And then we move on to May, and again, it's all the same going forward. I've got the habit tracker and then a page to make a visual journal spread. I have already done one for May because I had this phrase stuck in my head, matcha May. I don't know why, it was just coming out of my brain. So I decided to make a little spread for that, and I quite like how it turned out. Fun to use some of my green colored stickers as well. And then everything else is blank for now. These are the printouts that I made myself. It did take a little tweaking, and my printer doesn't actually print double-sided. I have to do it manually. So some things are a little bit off with the layout, but I've managed to make it work good enough for me for now. And I think it's a nice, simple and clean way to set it up, and it gives me that creative freedom if I want to add in any decoration. For me, I don't like unnecessary information that I don't personally use. So this is quite nice for me. I've just got a clean slate to work with. I am new to the YouTube game, and I wanted to make sure I had a space that I could plan out some ideas and schedule some posts and just make sure I was getting on top of things. I do bounce between physical planning and digital planning. I find that this is really nice for ideas and thinking about schedules and posting, and then the digital side is really good for scripting and adding in statuses and details like that. So I just have the space here for some ideas. I am going to skip over them because they are fresh ideas. And then we just have a little section for a posting schedule. I've got the whole month in one view, but I've decided to go for a list rather than the calendar, just because I find it easier to write horizontally like this rather than trying to pack them into the little squares. And I have the same here for May and June as well. Then I moved on to what I'm calling my collection of curiosities, which is essentially a commonplace. I just didn't really like the name commonplace, and I thought having a collection of curiosities sounded a bit more whimsical and a bit more fun. And do you know what? I really do like this so far. I have been keeping up with it. I have a little cover page here with a quote from Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and then I just dive straight into my notes, and I have got some good use out of this already. As you can see, there's a fair few pages already filled out, which is always good. And then I've just got these blank pages. This paper is actually from an old notebook that I have here that I just wasn't getting any use out of at all. And I just decided, instead of trying to make some fancy graph paper and print it, I already have some nice grid paper here. So I'm ripping this out and cutting it to size and putting it in the planner instead. So it was a nice way to reuse something that I wasn't getting any use out of beforehand. So all of these are then just blank, ready to use. And my next section is in the garden. So I have a veg patch in my garden. It's something I set up last year and I didn't really document anything properly, and I want to change that this year. I want to be able to know when I'm putting seeds out, if I've harvested anything, if I accidentally kill anything. So I think it's interesting to look back and think about the things that I've learned and be able to have a nice little log of that. And I've decided to put it in here because, to be honest, I don't have a notebook that I have available to put this in right now. And I thought it would be nice to be able just to have this to hand with everything else. But this may eventually become its own notebook depending on how much I use it and how much I do. And again, I've just put a few pages in for now, and we'll see how we get on. Then one of my ideas and experiments for the year is to start a personal curriculum. I knew this idea blew up loads last year, but I never jumped on it. It still felt a bit too much like I was going to school, and I wasn't quite sure how I could put it together. But recently I've been thinking about how I can be more creative and bring more of my creative voice into my daily life. And I personally think a curriculum around finding your creative voice is a really nice idea, and it gives me some structure. I have got this in here just to make notes when I'm on the go. I do have a Notion page to track and log my actual learnings and progress on my personal curriculum, but when I'm out and about, using Notion on my phone can get a little clunky sometimes, so I thought it would just be easier to have a little section in my Filofax. And again, these are just blank pages. These are printed grid pages. I had some extra space on some pages while I was printing inserts, and I didn't have any ideas at that point, so I just decided to print some grids. Then the same is true for my experiments. I have a Notion page for this again, but if I have any notes or things I want to document on the go, it's just nice having this particular section because it is something I am focusing on. It just felt right to have its own place. I didn't want the things that were directly related to my experiments to be hidden or taking up so much space in my collection of Curiosities section. And I have mentioned that I want to work on building my creative voice and working on my creativity in general and my curiosity. So I have included a little art and creativity section, and at the moment all I've got in here, this is another big magic quote actually. In this section, instead of having just general paper, I've actually cut out some art paper from a sketchbook that I've got, and I've also put some tracing paper in here too. So handy again to have these on the go. Then the final section I have is essentially a reference section, a space where I can keep logs and schedules and things that I need to refer to regularly, but fitting into my old-timey sort of library, cozy, whimsical feeling. I wanted a cool name for it, so I've gone for the repository, which I quite like. Sounds a bit nicer than references. And in here I have my trackers. So I have my book tracker. I made this insert print out in Canva, and I thought if I decided to, I could use these as a way to track how many books I read throughout the year by coloring them in. However, my goal for reading this year is actually not to focus on the amount of books I read and focus more on the detail and really absorbing the information that I'm reading, and also rereading old books that I was drawn to when I first read them. So whether I actually get round to colouring this in, I'm not sure. I do quite like how it looks black and white, but I do like the idea of being able to colour it in as well. So we'll see how that goes. Then I have printed out these inserts where I can track the books that I've read. They're very simple. I haven't got full reviews. I do actually have a Notion database where I can put more detailed reviews on the books that I read. This is more as a fail-safe tracker that I've got in person that can't be lost on the internet. And it's just nice having a physical thing to look through too. But I've never been able to keep a book journal for an entire year. Having just a tracker like this feels a lot more accessible to me, and I'm really liking it so far. And then this is how it looks blank, and I just print these off as stickers and stick them in once I've read them. Then I have another part of this fan from earlier. And again, I've stuck some washi tape on the back just to make it a bit more decorative. And then I have some spending logs. This obviously does not include bills or groceries. This is literally just for the non-essential items that I buy. I have a few blanks in there too. I do have plans to put some schedules in there, say some cleaning schedules, or maybe a self-care list to refer to when I have some free time and I could spend that looking after myself a bit more. Things like that is what I plan on putting in the repository section. And then finally, I just have this plastic wallet at the back. I actually picked this up at the boot sale that I was at the other day. I came across this Filofax dupe at the boot sale. The seller was selling this for £1, and it came filled with a bunch of these plastic wallets. So I originally intended to redonate this to a charity shop or something, but then I had the idea, I had so many loose stickers, so they're not on sticker sheets. So I decided to actually keep this to hold my stickers in. And I think this is a great for this, because it's not the kind of planner I would use myself. It's not my style, but for £1, the fact that I can now store my stickers neatly in a little case just works out perfectly. And it does mean that I have this plastic wallet, which is the only thing I've bought for this. All the other inserts are things that I've made. This is the only thing that I've bought, but I managed to thrift it. I'm gonna use this to hold things that I collect throughout the day. I like to junk journal and things, so if I have any bits, I can pop them in there, have it as a handy little wallet for when I need it. That is the last thing in my Filofax. This is my first setup for the Filofax. I'm sure it will change over time. I'm getting used to it now. I've only been using it for just over a week and I am liking it so far, but I'm sure things will change as we work on this. The one thing I do want to note is that I haven't actually decorated with any sort of charms or accessories. I wanted to set this Filofax up on a budget. I didn't want to buy a load of inserts and I didn't want to buy a load of accessories to start out with, but I did attempt to use some kind of chain or charm bracelet by here. As you can see, I've hole punched my library card to hold it in, but it just wasn't quite working for me. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do around here. If you have any ideas, please do let me know in the comments. I think because a lot of the people who I've watched with Filofaxes, they have the card pockets actually going the other way. They're going vertically, so it's easy for them to attach something at the top and then bring it down. But with this one, because it's not vertical, it comes in the middle, it doesn't sit right. So I think I'd need something in this top corner instead. And again, that would involve me buying something, which is fine. I might get around to doing that in the future. I do have a couple of charms I think would look really nice in this, but it's all up for some experimentation over time anyway. But that is it for now. I hope this brought some inspiration for you. I love looking at people's journal setups and what they are getting up to. And I hope this shows that if you have access to a printer, you can fill your Filofax up yourself if you have a bit of time and patience on your hands. And if you did enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe to my channel. I really, really appreciate all of you being here and watching my videos. And if there is anything that you would like to see, please do let me know. If you have any questions about my setup or anything that I've done or shown in this video, please do let me know. That is all from me this week. I hope you all have a good week and I will speak to you soon. Bye.